Hi guys! So my name is Tisinge or Tisu, and welcome back or welcome to the series that is on disability independence. So I put a poll up on Instagram to see what to do for the next topic, and it was a poll between hygiene and socializing and dating. And socializing and dating won. So that's what we're going to be doing today's topic on. So before I jump into the tips, I'm going to talk a little bit in this video. So it can be hard to date with disabilities, and it's not always the reasons that people think. It's not always about the ableism, rejection, or the acceptance factors of it, although those do play a part in it. It can also just plain be difficult to go out and meet someone, whether you met this person online or offline. There's been many a times where I have been feeling like in pain or sick or whatever on a date, and it sucked. I mean, like, the date itself might have been fun, and we'll talk more about like my experiences later, but the date itself might have been fun, but like I may have been feeling sick. And even in like long-term relationships, they can be difficult because of balancing help and support. You don't want your partner to feel like a caregiver or like a nurse, you know what I mean? But you need to remember, everyone needs support in some type of way. And just because you need support in different ways doesn't mean that you're a burden on your partner. And I just want you to remember, if you do have a partner, they chose you for a reason. My first tip is going to be about disclosure. So it's going to be a two-part tip on disclosure online, since online dating is very popular these days. And it's going to be about disclosure when you're actually interacting with someone offline, whether that be you met them offline or that you're meeting them from online and you're interacting in person. So the first part of this tip is either to display that you have a disability both in your profile bio and in the pictures. And if you're too uncomfortable to do that, to at least just chat and mention that you have a disability somewhere along the lines. Not the first couple conversations, but somewhere along the line mention that you have a disability. Personally, I would rather display it than chat, because I feel like that saves a lot of heartache. Some people are very judgmental and narrow-minded. That has nothing to do with you or your worth, but that's how the world is sometimes. And I think it saves a lot of heartache to just display it in both your pictures and your profile, because then that way the person already knows, they can already decide whether or not that's a deal breaker for them. And things of that nature. So I think it's better to do that, but I can understand, it can be very difficult. I didn't wake up being confident about my disabilities. It took time. So if you're too uncomfortable, just at least mention it while you're chatting. So this is something I would also do on my platonic friendship apps and stuff like that, was to disclose and just display that I do have a disability and stuff like that. Because people can be the same way in friendships. And I don't want to deal with that. So this is what my profile looks like on platonic apps. I don't use the dating, so I can't show you like what my dating description or whatever looks like. But yeah, so I'm pretty unapologetic about it. And but anyways, the apps that you can use for platonic friendships are Bumble BFF, Patook, Hey Vina, and Peanut. So Bumble BFF is a section in the app Bumble. So they have friendship, dating, and networking. And it's all in one app. Patook is specifically just for platonic friendships. I don't know if it's still free, but you can check. And both Bumble BFF and Patook, I for both male and female, but they don't let you match with someone who's a different gender than you. Hey Vina is specifically for women, and Peanut is specifically for moms. So I think it's really, really important to put this information out, because a lot of people who have disabilities. Some of us are housebound, like a good amount of us are housebound. And like, who are you gonna meet in your house? Right? Like, who are you gonna meet in your house? So I think it's really good that things like this are available to us now, so that, you know, we can get out and meet new people and expand our horizons. Because a lot of us, it's like, we're at home, then we're at the doctor's. We're at home, then we're at the doctor's. And that's just not fun. We want some variety. We want something to do, okay? So download one of these apps and be safe. Make some new friends. And then obviously, like, I'm not going to mention any dating apps because they're so widespread and well known. Like, you could literally just look them up and find, like, you don't have to search for them like that. Then there are also dating websites specifically for people with disabilities, specific for certain types of disabilities. So you can also look into that as well. But anyways, yeah, those are some platonic friendship apps. I've actually, like, there are a lot of friends that I've met online, and I'm still friends with some of them to this day. Multiple friends that I've met online have been on my YouTube channel. So it's really pretty cool. And it's definitely made a big difference in my life. Okay. So the second part of that tip is disclosure, and how disclosure is a gift. So the reason I say disclosure is a gift is because disclosure can be something that is personal, something that can be sensitive, and something that can make you feel vulnerable. And it is a gift. If someone doesn't accept that gift, then that's not on you, that's on them. And if someone accepts that gift, then cool. But yes, disclosure is a gift, and you don't owe anyone your diagnosis or your medical history. If you feel comfortable to tell someone, then you can tell them. But anyways, I feel like in the case of, like, friendships and romantic partnerships, like, friendships, they don't need to know if you don't want them to know. If you want to share because you want to like, you know, tell people what you're going through and all that type of stuff, then whatever. But romantic partnerships, I feel like, you know, since you spend so much time around each other and things of that nature, that you should tell them at a certain point when you are comfortable, though. When you're comfortable. So yeah. Disclosure is definitely a gift. And I also want to say, like, don't overwhelm people with, like, disclosure. Giving them your entire medical history outright, you know? Like, I think the best ways to do it is to either, like, kind of, like, little by little talk about it, like, every now and then, like, when you start feeling comfortable to even start talking about it. Because I think it's so much more important to actually get to know each other and talk to each other, especially if you're doing something like online dating. Like, if you haven't even met this person, you don't need to really even talk about your medical history extensively because you haven't even met them. But yeah, so I think the best ways to do it is, like, either, like, you know, like, kind of, like, put it, like, you know, just say it little by little, answer whatever questions come up. Or you can have a sit-down talk about it. Like, you can have a sit-down talk, like, hey, this is what I'm dealing with, this is what I'm diagnosed with, do you have any questions, you know? And I think both ways are great ways to go about it. You can even combine the two. So I know it was like a 3-part tip, but disclosure is just such a big thing, and I also had to mention those platonic friendship apps because, you know, a lot of us are inside the house most of the time, and we don't have a lot of ways to meet people. Like, actually in the community, like, people talk a lot about their online friends that they'll never meet. I meet all of my online friends. I meet all of them. But anyways, going on to the second tip. So, my second tip is to plan ahead for accessibility. I think it's better if you use mobility devices for you to be the one that plans where the first couple dates are. But if you want them to plan it, call ahead to this location that you're going to, and see if it's accessible. And this also goes for not just dates, but also hanging out with someone. Like, you want to make sure that you're able to actually get into the place. Like, say you have a wheelchair and they have stairs at the front of the place and no ramp. So those are questions that you have to ask, because some of them would tell you, like, oh yeah, we are accessible, but then they have no ramp. Like, so you have to ask them, like, you know, specific questions sometimes. Anyways, so planning ahead for accessibility is really good for both hanging out and dates. So my third tip is, how do we answer the question, the dreaded question, what do you do? What do you do? A lot of chronically ill and disabled people don't like being asked, what do you do? Because most people expect the answer, go to school, I go to work. And not all disabled people are able to do that. And so what I would say when people said, what do you do? I would say, I am disabled and I spend my days doing this. And spend my days doing this would be like a hobby. Like maybe I spend my days doing art. Maybe I spend my days reading. Maybe I spend my days writing a blog. You know, like some type of hobby that you do regularly. Doesn't have to be every single day, but like something that you do. You know? So that's how I would answer that question. And my fourth tip and last tip is to not feel like the only thing that you are is a disabled person. So I don't know everyone who is watching this video, but I know that you have other traits other than your disability. You might be creative, you might be very nice, you might be funny, or something completely different than the things I just mentioned. Like, you have other traits other than your disabilities. And it's important to, remember that and know that. Like, when I first became disabled in my teenage years, I thought that it was the only thing that I was, and because of that, I thought that no one would want to be my friend or date me. So, I think it's really important to know that it's not the only thing that you are, and to learn how to cultivate a mindset of confidence around it. Confidence is very attractive. It draws you in. Like, no matter who it is, it draws you in. Like, when someone is just exuding that energy that they feel good about themselves, you can tell, and that draws someone in. And honestly, I think it's more attractive when someone who is confident, when you wouldn't expect them to be. Because that takes even more confidence. When you're not, what people would consider conventionally attractive, yeah, so I really hope that you like these tips. I hope that they're helpful to you, and we will continue them in the next video. Alright, like, sub, share, and all that good stuff. Bye! I do not want to do that again. I don't. Okay, I'll do it. Fuck. Okay.